I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This week on the Sweetwater Minute, we are joined by Rob McGaughey from Avid. Rob, thanks for coming in.
All right, good
Appreciate
to be here.
it. And you're here to talk to us about the 11 Rack, which is a very cool interface for guitar players and for non-guitar players for that matter.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what the box does.
Well, basically, there's three main applications for 11 Rack. One is you can use it to play live. Just take the box out, take either the output of it, plug it into your combo amp and use it as a front end to that, or directly into the PA and use the cabinet modeling in the box. So it can function as a full-on amp modeler. It models amplifiers, stomp box effects, a wide array of guitar effects, amplifiers, cabinets, microphones, all of that. Or you can use it in the studio. It can be used as a standalone interface. It's a USB 2 interface that will connect to your Mac and PC. It comes with Pro Tools 10 right out of the box, so you've got the full Pro Tools 10 software.
Right.
And it's a complete system. Or if you already have a Pro Tools system, maybe you've got a Pro Tools HD or HD native system or a new HDX system, or maybe you've got an old 003 or another system like that. You can use this in conjunction with that system and connect the ins and outs via USB into your computer so you have the control interface, but you also have the audio via analog and digital I/O so that you can use it as your guitar front end or as a reamping device, DSP for your guitar effects and modeling of stomp boxes and all of that sort of stuff as well.
All right, so a very flexible box, very versatile.
Yeah, a lot of applications for it.
Right. Now, as a guitar player, what's cool about it, and what I've always really liked about the 11 Rack, is that it feels right to play. You know, just sometimes you plug into modeling systems and they don't feel right. They don't feel the way it does when you plug into an amp. Why is that? What's different about the 11 Rack?
One of the really cool parts of 11 Rack is the True Z impedance matching. So when you plug into the front of the rack, it actually is able to look at the impedance of your instrument and set itself up so it will react or respond like a real amp would. So it doesn't matter what type of instrument you have, whether it's a Strat like this, something with overwound hot, output pickups, maybe some modern guitar with active pickups, or an old vintage with something that's really low output. Right. When you plug it in, it's going to feel and respond and play like that guitar would through the amp that it's working with.
Right.
And that's a really powerful feature because all the different, you can switch guitars in and out and it's always going to respond the way it should.
It feels right. Yeah. The other thing about it, in addition to that, the fact that it feels right to your fingers, is that there's no latency with the 11 Rack. Why is that? Why do we not have any latency problems?
There's actually a ton of very powerful DSP inside the box.
Okay.
So all the modeling is not relying on your computer, but it's happening inside the box. So when you're using it live or as a front end, there is zero latency. It's
just like playing an amp.
Just like playing an amp, exactly.
Right, right. During the introduction to the Sweetwater Minute, you heard a little bit of playing, and that was based on two different sounds that we had dialed up in the 11 Rack. And you actually were able to do that very quickly because you can work in two places. You can dial up from the front panel or using the computer. How is that working?
So yeah, right from the front panel, you can go through and just like you're used to plugging into your amplifier, your pedal board, or whatever, you can access your signal chain. So I can go in and say I want to tweak the inputs of my amplifier. I can go to the amp, hit the little controls button, and I've got the controls like I would have on the front of an amp. So here we're modeling a Plexi style amp, you've got these controls. And actually I can see there's a second page over here. I can reach other controls. In this case it's actually a gate and my main output that's available on the second page. So I can access all of that from here. I can also go through and say, maybe I've got a little distortion pedal. And I should go through and grab the controls from that. So everything is set up from here. And you'll notice you see the little chicken style knobs are lit green, which tells me where the preset is saved. But if I want to tweak these, they'll actually turn red, which tells me it's different than where it was last saved. Or if I want to dial it back in, I can go back to green and it will tell me where it was in relationship to the preset.
Nice.
Well, I can do exactly the same thing from the software. So if I look at it on the screen here, here's my amp model, here's all my controls, here's my cabinet, my microphone, all that. If I go to the same stomp box, I've got exactly the same controls in a graphic interface. When I make the change here, you'll see it's making the exact same change over here. So as I change the overdrive control, I'll see the change made in both places. So this is really just a remote control software for the unit itself.
Running as a plug-in within Pro Tools in this case.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is it's all here. So whether you're doing it from the front panel or there, I can change the order of things. So if I wanted to move the EQ to before the distortion, I can switch it here. If I wanted to put my delay before the amplifier, I can easily drag stuff and move them around. I can do that just as easily from the front panel.
Nice. Nice. Now, one of the other really cool things about working in Pro Tools with 11 Rack and the software is that you can reamp your signals.
Yeah.
So when we were tracking earlier, we actually tracked the direct guitar, just the sound coming straight off the guitar right into the computer.
Yeah.
And now we can go in and we can actually change the sounds that we're hearing. Can you show us how that
Exactly.
works?
Sure. So yeah, to reamp this, let's take the rhythm track we recorded earlier.
Okay.
We'll reamp that and use a different amp. So here what I'm going to do is I'll take the output of this track and I'm going to send it digitally out of my Pro Tools system to the 11 Rack. And then the output of the 11 Rack will be bussed over to this other channel where we'll bring it back in and we'll record. We'll just put it in input monitor mode to monitor the input back into 11 Rack.
Okay.
So now I need to switch the input of the 11 Rack, instead of being the guitar input on the front, to be the digital input. So we'll switch this over to digital left, where that's coming in. So now if I play the signal. All right, that's probably not a really good sound. That's pretty distorted. But let's just go back and we'll build up a kind of an amp setting from scratch. So maybe we'll sit here and we'll go to, let's try, before we were like an AC30 type thing, but let's try like a deluxe reverb. We'll go for that type of a sound. Maybe we'll dial that up. We'll turn off the distortion and the compressor, and EQ. We'll just kind of get back to just the basics here with an amp. I don't even need the volume pedal. Add a little reverb in. Go ahead and turn that on. And let's just go to our digital reverb here. That's a spring reverb. So I can kind of play around with this a little bit, you know, maybe increase the bass a little bit, maybe turn the amp up a little bit. See a little edge, just a little bit of an edge distortion there.
Nice. So basically, we can apply any sound we want, any amplifier sound, any effects, right to that using the sounds that are in the 11 Rack. So we're getting those authentic amp tones modeled right in there.
Right.
Really a very flexible way to work.
There's another pretty cool feature along this line. When we record, we can actually choose what input signal that we want to record. So if I go out here to the end, you see there's a little E at the end of this. Well, this is the rhythm track. If I wanted to recall the settings of when I recorded this, because I've actually changed it all around now, I can actually go in and right-click on this track, and if I click Load Guitar Rig Settings, it will actually load back the way it was stacked. So now we're back to that AC30. So I say, well, you know, maybe I didn't like that tone. I want to go back to this, but maybe make a slight tweak to it. I can easily recall anything I've ever recorded without having to save it onto the unit as a preset, but just save it as part of my Pro Tools session.
Right, right. What a powerful tool.
Yeah.
You take it out live, plug it in, it becomes your rig. You can run it straight to the PA, or you could run it through a cabinet on stage if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Take it into the studio to record your tracks. You can do reamping. You can use it as a guitar processor with any other interface.
Yeah.
Very flexible, very powerful. And actually, when you get one here from Sweetwater, we include all the exclusive sounds as well.
Yeah, there's 104 artist presets for some of the best players out there. I mean, guys like Brent Mason, Steve Stevens, Keb Mo. There's a ton of different things. Adrian Ballou.
Lots of great tones.
You know, go onto the Sweetwater website and go to the 11 Rack page. There's actually like a jukebox style player with all of these different guys playing their presets, so you can hear kind of what they envision. You hear the sound, and then that preset's what comes with it. And that's a really cool, special Sweetwater thing.
Right, right. Rob, thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for showing us the 11 Rack.
Thanks.
If you're a guitar player, you really need to check out 11 Rack. For live use, studio use, all kinds of different applications for this box. It gives you great tones. It feels right to play it. There's no latency. Really a powerful addition to your toolbox. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.